Hello everybody, so this is a video response and a continuation of the video that I made last night about Razorblade's video about prostitution. Long story short, he thinks that it should remain illegal rather than decriminalised or legalised, which I think probably should be the latter. But anyway, so here's an article and you'll see where I'm going with this. Alright, so it's called Prostitution Client List Remains Confidential. And this is from October the 15th, 2012. Portland. The Maine Supreme Court could decide Monday whether it'll hear arguments on an appeal aimed at keeping a list of suspected clients confidential in a prostitution case in Kennebunk. The Kennebunk Police Department declined Friday to release any more than 115 names of suspected clients while the appeal is pending. The appeal, seeking an expedited hearing, was brought on behalf of two of the men who were on the list. Stephen Schwartz, who represents the two men, said he doesn't believe the state can provide the charges and that releasing names will cause devastating consequences. Alexis Wright, a 29-year-old former Zumba instructor, has pleaded not guilty to 106 counts of prostitution, invasion and privacy and other charges. Mark Strong, her business partner, has also pleaded not guilty to 59 misdemeanor counts. Alright, there's one more article and I'm not going to read it all out, but it's from the Daily Mail. And it came the day after the last article. It's titled, Retired Colonel who shares name with client in Zumba prostitute witch hunt, that's in quotes by the way, tells how he's had to try and convince his wife he's not slept with a hooker. I'm just going to read the bullet points here. 75-year-old retired Colonel James Stoll was forced to sit down with his wife and explain to her that he had not been sleeping with prostitutes. He shares name with one of 21 men on the list accused of paying Alexis Wright, a 29-year-old Zumba instructor, for sex at her illicit brothel in her exercise studio in Kennebunk, Maine. Police only released list of names without addresses or dates of birth, leading to paranoia and confusion in the town. Mr. Stoll claims there is a witch hunt going on in a small New England shore town. An innocent retired police spokesman also shares the name of one of the Johns and has blasted the shoddy manner in which the names has been released. Police report the alleged prostitutes made 150 grand in the past year. I am just going to quote a few snippets from the Daily Mail. A friend of another James Stoll, who was also not one of the Johns, described what was happening as a, quote, witch hunt. The male friend who asked that he not be named said, "This is worse than if they just handed out all the details. My friend James has been getting calls all morning from people who think it is him. I know him and his girlfriend are going through a rough time right now and this work certainly won't help." And right next to it there's the list of shame from the Daily Mail, which lists all the clients of the prostitutes. Perhaps a little bit more disturbing is this quote here. Retired police spokesman Paul Main was one of the innocents also caught up in a scandal. His quiet evening was similarly shattered by a phone ringing off the hook and half a dozen TV crews showing up on his porch. Everyone wanted us to know, was he the same Paul Main who had been accused of visiting a prostitute in Kennebunk? The answer was no, but a decision to release the names of alleged prostitution clients without any ages or addresses has caused big problems for men who have the same names as the accused. I don't have a problem with releasing names. I think it's a wonderful thing. But I'll be darned if it's right to do so in such a shoddy manner, said Main, a retired spokesman ahead of the Detective Division for the York County Sheriff's Department. That is quite disturbing how men will justify such draconian misandry that is this. Alright, so what's the point of this? Well, Razorblade Candy says that legalising prostitution would be bad for privacy, but privacy, as you can see from what I've just read, is already shit. At least businesses have some sort of incentive to keep privacy in that they need return customers, and it doesn't really make much sense for legalised prostitutes to go to the clients' wives or whatever, because obviously they won't get any repeat business, would they? So that doesn't make any sense. And also there are female police officers that are undercover, so yeah, privacy is pretty shit. And as for bureaucracy, well, prisons, judiciary, that is bureaucracy. The whole having to put a criminal record on a man, that is bureaucracy. That's terrible. That's fucking terrible. There are a couple of other concerns that Razorblade has, such as the black market increasing prices. Okay, 1. If mainstream regulated prostitution exists, then the transvestite next to the park will probably have to reduce the price, or 2, the price does go up, as Razorblade Candy says, to $500 or whatever, but then isn't that a good thing? If it costs more, then less men will do it, which is what Razorblade Candy wants. So, moving on. And as for women being able to declare rape at any time, well, this can and already does happen with the current status quo. But let's not get into the impression that these local johns are angels. Prostitution is a notoriously risky occupation, so some regulation I think is a good thing. Personally, I think prostitution should either be decriminalised or legalised, probably the latter, as the former still has a sort of stigma. It's a sort of, yeah, men are oppressing you, it's the patriarchy, etc., but we can't white knight for you because men are so evil and we can't do anything about it. Legalising prostitution would be great for men though, as it would mean that wives would have to be pleasant, and that's why I think Rad Femmes wants it legalised, because they know it gives the game up that marriage is a season ticket prostitution, and prostitution in Poland reduces female value to extract resources, and in my opinion that is worth any government bureaucracy, which we already have. So yeah,